Hello, I'm Tony Ko, the host of TalkIT Global. AI is now integrated with various software, enhancing the convenience of their use. It seems that even software development environments, such as IDEs, are merging with AI. This video will provide an easy-to-understand introduction to the AI-based IDE, Cursor.
Cursor IDE is a recently released tool. It is based on Visual Studio Code, similar to open source software, and functions in a way that various VS Code derivatives can be integrated as plugins within the IDE itself.
Oh, because it's open source.
There are cases where entirely new IDEs are created using this. However, the concept of Cursor IDE is fundamentally different. These days, IDEs are rushing to incorporate AI for productivity. Typically, they offer features like a chat UI or code suggestions, but Cursor IDE integrates AI into every stage of the development process.
So they've embedded AI directly into the engine.
Yes, I see a lot of potential in this these days.
Is it open source AI?
This one uses models like GPT-4 or Claude, so there are costs involved.
You could use something like a private LLM.
That's also an option, or you can simply input an API key from something like ChatGPT to use it for free since you'll be utilizing that engine.
This must have come out recently.
Yes, it was released recently.
Embedding AI directly into the design of an IDE. That's interesting. I think we'll see more of this in the future. Not just in development tools, but across various fields, AI will likely be built into the core from the very beginning of the design process.
Yes, traditional IDEs already have established structures, and while opportunities for AI integration are gradually increasing, there are still limitations.
Exactly.
This one aims to integrate AI into every stage right from the start, so I'd like to take some time to introduce its features. Here, you can see that it allows you to input a codebase. What this means is that a project typically consists of more than just one or two files, right? So it indexes all the files and organizes them into its own repository, storing everything systematically. It puts everything in.
Without Cursor IDE, wouldn't a person have to do all that manually?
The person would need to manually link the necessary files, but since this system integrates everything, it can reference all the existing sources when answering any questions, making its responses much more reliable, including things like syntax rules.
So there won't be any hallucination issues.
So far, I haven't noticed any hallucination issues, likely because it leverages some of the best models available, like GPT-4 Turbo or Claude 3.5 Sonnet. While there's a small cost involved, it delivers such high-quality results that I've rarely seen hallucinations. What really impressed me is its ability to suggest excellent code. One of the things I often ask about isn't just algorithms or structures in the source code, but also changes in syntax. For example, the libraries or frameworks used in a project keep getting updated and new things are introduced with each version. Sometimes I encounter situations like, oh, I was using version 2, but now it's updated to version 3, and suddenly everything's different. This tool has a feature called Mention, which tells you what to refer to for those changes. With the Mention feature, you can reference your local file folders, web pages, or most effectively, documentation, doc format. For instance, if you're working with Spring, you'll see it pull in the official Spring Boot guide. It scrapes the relevant documentation from Spring Boot and helps you find exactly what you need, or take LangChain, for example, which is quite popular these days. The tool will fetch the LangChain documentation, index all the resources mentioned, and let you search for exactly what you need from there. These features make it incredibly useful, in my opinion. Another example is when you have files to work with. So you can ask questions about the content through the chat, but you can also give code instructions directly within the editor. For example, if you say, make this support node.js, it will refer to the relevant documentation and handle adding, removing, or modifying the necessary code accordingly, all within the document. These are some of the features it offers. It's really impressive and has become quite a popular tool recently.
Earlier, you mentioned using Mention to bring in specific Spring-related documents from LangChain and organizing them. That aligns with the concept of RAG.
Exactly. So it has RAG implemented internally. Normally, you'd have to manually set everything up by installing LangChain and other tools, but this already has everything built in. Moreover, if you integrate your own AI engine through APIs, you can use it without incurring additional costs.
How long have you been using Cursor IDE?
I've been using it since it first came out, so it's been over 6 months now.
How do you feel it has impacted your productivity?
It varies from person to person, of course. In my case, since I focus on architecting, seeing the big picture, and designing, efficiency typically comes from conveying my design to developers and having them implement it. But with this tool, I don't need to delegate as much. I can do it myself, especially with LLMs. While the results depend on how you use them, I've become very familiar with Cursor IDE. I've built a close relationship with it. Over time, I've gained some know-how, like understanding how to give instructions to get the best responses. In the past, I might have needed 1 or 2 junior developers, but now I can handle most of the development on my own. From that perspective, my productivity has increased by over 200%. It's like having an extra person on the team. That said, I still believe it's essential to study and understand the fundamentals. You need that knowledge to trust the responses from the LLM, so I think investing time in learning is necessary.
Lastly, your likes and subscriptions greatly empower us to continue creating content. Thank you for your support.